YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we will talk about Vaalmonica, and this is the showcase that I've been waiting for quite some time now to make. Anywho, there are a couple of cards that we are going to talk about. I will get to it, and there are some combos at the end of this video. If you want to check that one out, there is a timestamp down below. Just check that one. Also, Decklist is in the comment section if you want a card by card. So first and foremost, like any other showcase, we'll talk about the core deck list and then the Master Duel deck list that you'll use later along. So without further ado, I won't waste any more of your time because I know that this is going to be a long video because this is Vaalmonica's. So let's go to the core deck list. Okay guys, so here we are with the core list, and we have here well, all the cards that we basically need for the Vaalmonica deck. Now, I would be excluding the Creator and Valor, which are still in the OCG. They have been released in the Infinite Forbidden there, which it will take some time until it will be released in the TCG. I'm not sure if this is going to be released also in Master Duel by this coming Friday, but seeing what happened to Memento, I really doubt it. In the meantime, we're gonna talk about the cards in our main deck and also the extra deck. So first and foremost, we have Selectress. So definitely 3 copies for this card. So its effect states, if while you control a monster except Selectress, your opponent's monster cannot target this card for attack. Once this card is normal or pendulum summon, you can add one Vaalmonica card directly from your deck to your hand. So excluding special summon. That's one minor downside, but having to search out your cards is basically bread and butter combo. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard and you have your pendulum scales active, you can add this back from your graveyard to your hand. So pretty good. Then we have, oh yeah, so here we are, we have the Angelo and the Demono. So I've been wrapping my head around these 2 cards here alongside the normal spell cards. If you gain life points, you will add a counter to Angelo, and if you take damage, you will add a counter to Demono. So first and foremost, we go for Angelo. If this card is in your hand, you can discard 1 card and take 1 Demono monster from your deck and place it in the Pendulum Zone. If this card is normal or spell summon, you can banish 1 Vaalmonica normal or trap card from your graveyard and then copy its gaining life points effect. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, link summon 1 Vaalmonica monster on the field. So typically, if you have 3 counters on the field, you can summon a copy of Duralumi. But yeah, that's a nice effect for Angelo. Now for the Domino. So Domino still works the same way as Angelo. Discard 1 card, take 1 Angelo and place it in the Pendulum Zone. If this card is normal or spell summon, you can copy 1 take damage effect, that is a spell or trap card in your graveyard, and banish it. So yes, works the same way as Angelo. Monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack for each counter that is on the field. So with regards to the number of copies, I've seen some version where people are running 2 and 2 for each of the cards. If you're running pure, I guess, just max this one out. You really want to have your pendulum scales online immediately so that most of your cards will work to its fullest, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Next card will have a copy of Disharmonia. So you can place 1 counter on 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, and then you can choose from one of these 2 effects. So gain life points, then you can add 1 banished Vaalmonica card to your hand, or take damage, then add 1 Vaalmonica card from your graveyard to your hand. Definitely a one of, but I've seen some people run 2 copies of this just to add more counters to their pendulum scales. It really differs from time to time though. I do prefer just running with 1 copy of this. And then we have a copy of Intonare. So for Intonare, apply one of these effects unless you have a Vaalmonica card in your pendulum zone. So that's one thing that's common to the Vaalmonica normal spell and traps. If you have a Vaalmonica card in your pendulum zone, you can choose one of the 2 effects. If not, your opponent will choose for you. You can choose from one of the 2 effects, gain life points, then you can have any monsters in your graveyard that can be special summoned, and then your opponent chooses 1 for you to special summon to your field. Or take damage, then you can add 1 level 4 monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is not half bad, I would say, but the spell summon is kind of neat. Maybe if you want to have a copy of this in your deck, 0 to 1 copies would suffice. Then you have a copy of Celta. Now this is one of the cards that you want to see in your hand alongside a field spell or alongside Selectress. Apply one of these effects unless you have a Vaalmonica card in your Pendulum Zone. So you can choose one of the effects, gain life points, then you can place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck, then draw 2 cards, which is kind of nice. Or take damage, then you can add 1 Vaalmonica spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Typically 3 copies of this, same as the field spell and the copy of Selectress. Then for our next card, we have Versari. So Versari states, apply one of these effects, yada yada yada, same as if you have a Vaalmonica card in your Pendulum Zone, gain life points, then you can excavate cards until you can excavate a Vaalmonica card and add it to your hand. So it doesn't really state how many cards you excavate as long as you excavate the cards. Really insane of an effect. Take damage, then you can send one Vaalmonica card from your deck to your graveyard. So the main purpose for this is to send a copy of your trap card to the grave. The reason for this is you can use the trap cards effect for Zebufera. Quick effect, you can target one of your normal Vaalmonica normal spells or trap card that is banished or in your graveyard and apply the activation. For the Versari, definitely 3 copies, same as Celta, but with regards to priorities, I think Celta is much better. And then lastly, we have the copy of Vaalmonica Invitare, which is your quick play spell card. Spell summon one Vaalmonica monster from your deck. Also, for the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, you cannot activate the effects of monsters on the field except Vaalmonica monsters. It's not half bad, I would say. It's just a field effect. You can still use your monster effects on hand or in the graveyard. Also, you can Pendulum Summon, Synchro, or even XZ, so it's not half bad. Second effect, if you control a non-Pendulum Vaalmonica monster, take 2 Vaalmonica Pendulum monsters with different names from your deck and add it to your hand. The other one will be added face up on the extra deck, which we can use later on for a Pendulum Summon. So with regards to the number of Invitari, basically it really differs with your build. For me, I would prefer just to go with 2 copies of this, but seeing if you pair this up with your field spell or the Silitrus, just go with 3 copies. I think it's still pretty nice. And lastly, your field spell. So, Vaalmonica the Agathok Voice. So when this card is activated, you can add one Vaalmonica monster from your deck to your hand. And if a card in your Pendulum Zone has a 3rd counter, you can target one monster in your opponent's control, take control of it until the end phase. It's still a really good change of art effect. Also, that is your field spell, typically 3 copies because this is one good source to gain access to your Silitrus or to your other Pendulum monster, which is the Angelo and the Demono. And lastly, the only trap card that we're gonna use for this deck is the Followed Rhythm. So apply one of these effects. You must control a Vaalmonica monster card to activate and resolve the effects. So you can choose gaining life points. You can destroy one spell and trap card in the field, or take damage. You can return one monster in the field to the hand, and that is if you have the Vaalmonica Link monster present on the field that you can use in sequence. That is basically it for your main deck. The other trap card that we are using here is the Chosen Melody. So this card states gain life points. Also, for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot target Vaalmonica monsters you control with card effects, or take damage. You can negate the effect of one effect monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. The Followed Rhythm is for offensive, Chosen Melody is for defensive. So 1 of 1 if you're running the trap cards, by the way. For the extra deck, you have the Duralame. So you cannot link summon this card unless you have 3 resonance counter on 1 fairy monster, which is the Angelo. So once this card is link summoned, you can target monsters that your opponent controls up to the number of counters, and then destroy them. So the numbers popped will differ from the number of counters that you have, which is kind of nice. Also, you can remove 3 counters for this, and then you can attack 3 times with this monster. So that's basically 7,500 directly to your opponent's life points. So with regards to the number of copies, I've seen some builds, people are running 1 copy of this. I think running a 2nd copy wouldn't hurt the deck. This is just based on my own experience with the deck. But if you like to run with 1 copy, just go ahead. Then for our last extra deck monster, we have the Zebufera. So this card cannot be link summoned unless you have 3 counters on 1 fiend monster. So that is the Demono. So if a card you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can remove 3 counters from your Pendulum Zone instead. Quick effect, like we talked about earlier, you can target 1 Vaalmonica spell or trap that is banished or in your graveyard, copy its effect activation. If you have the trap card in your graveyard, much better. So that is all of your cards there. For the additional cards that hasn't been added in the TCG yet, we have the Creator. Link monsters you control gains 1,200 attack while 6 or more resonance counters are on the field. If your opponent spell summons a monster after this card resolves, link summon 1 Vaalmonica Link monster. If this card is sent from your hand or field to the graveyard, you can place counter on 1 card in your Pendulum Zone until it has 3 counters. And then lastly, we have here Valar, Vaalmonican Hollow Hymn. So unaffected by non-Vaalmonica cards, effects while 6 or more resonance counters are on the field. So this card gains 1 additional attack for each level 4 Vaalmonica monsters you control. Then once per turn, when your opponent would spell summon a monster, quick effect, you can negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. Then remove 3 resonance counters from your field, which is not half bad. But yeah, that is basically your core cards right there, guys. We'll talk about these two cards in the near future, but seeing from their effects, 1 copy for Valor and then 0 to 1 copies for Creator. So that is your core cards, guys. Let us go to our Master Duel deck list. Okay, so here we are with the Master Duel deck list for the Vaalmonicas. So this is all the compilation that I managed to pull out from every YouTube video out there, or even some deck lists out there. Honestly, it's kind of hard to just compress them into one 40 card deck. If you're going more than, I think you can have room for Maxi though. But we want to see more Vaalmonica cards rather than hand traps or something. So this would be alright, I would say. As long as you have the Silitrus, the Field Spell, or even one of the Pendulum monsters, you're bound to go with a good combo. It is basically like 2 cards or 3 card combos for this deck, whichever variant that you're using. Performage is an additional card though. Zephyrus is an additional good card as well, because you take effect damage, which is really good for Domino. Performage takes damage as well, increases the counter for Domino. 3 of each. For this build, I'm just running 3 copies of Inventare. It can play through Maxi. Nibiru is not really a big problem for this deck. Only Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, and Imperm. If they start off with Silitrus and you Imperm that, or Veiler, or Ash Blossom, and if they don't have like a follow-up to that one, then they don't really have a really good end board there. Extra deck, you just basically need your Vaalmonica monsters, plus or minus some Exe monsters that are level 4. End board, which is IP Masquerena plus a Little Knight. The Artemis is a really good addition as well, because you can link off the copy of the Silitrus on the field, and once you have a Pendulum Scale active, you can just bounce back Silitrus. Yeah, that's basically it. If you want to run more than 40 cards with this, just to have Maxi in it, but I really don't want to advise it, because you want to see more Vaalmonica cards rather than hand traps, possibly. I think the only lock for this deck, if you activate the Inventare. Other than that, they have no attribute lock, monster type locks. Yeah, this is a nice deck to actually play. Maybe if you pair it up with another archetypes. I think Melodious, I've seen some gameplays. They're kind of nice as well. So let's hope for the best if this archetype would be really good in the near future. So that is your Master Duel deck list. So let's go to our final part of this video, which is the combos. So first and foremost, let's go with the Bagooska pass. If you have a really bad hand, and typically in some cases, you will have either the field spell or a copy of Silitrus. So this is what you're gonna do. So if you have the field spell, you activate the field, gain access to Silitrus, be normal summoned, get a copy of Inventare, and Inventare will activate. You can gain access to your Pendulum monsters. And also you need 1 discard for this, of course. Gain access to your Vaalmonica Pendulum monsters, discard 1, place your Pendulum Scales, and then you can spell summon the monster from your extra deck. And then, Bagooska. If your opponent dubs a copy of Maxi, you can also use this. So that's one combo. Let's go to the second one. Okay, so here we are with the second combo. We have here the Field Spell plus a Performage Juggler. This is the best card that you can actually get, or a copy of your Trick Clown. It's either one of those, but Juggler is another good thing as well. So same thing what we did earlier. Field Spell, or if you get a copy of Silitrus, same way. Silitrus will be normal sub to the field. Gain access to the Inventare. Inventare will gain access to your Pendulum monsters. So we use the effect, dump a copy of Juggler. Juggler reuses its effect, gain access to the Trick Clown. And with this, we summon the monsters from your extra deck and the hand. So we go for that, Trick Clown on the field, go for IP Masquerena, and then go for Bagooska. So that's your board. Easy as that. And by your opponent's turn, you can use the effect of IP Masquerena to summon Little Knight on the field, if ever they overcome Bagooska on the field. Let's go for number 3. Okay, so this is one of the best hands that you can actually pull out. If you have a copy of Silitrus or a copy of the Field Spell plus a Vaalmonica normal spell. So much better if you got the Celta, but other spells would actually work the same way. The same thing that we're going to do here. Go for the Field Spell. Gain access to the Celta. The Silitrus. Silitrus will be normal summoned here. Gain access to the Inventare. Now once you use the effect of Inventare, you will need to have Domino in your extra deck here, because you need the effect of Domino to copy its take damage effect. So let's do that. Go for Inventare. Gain access to the Angelo. Angelo will dump the Celta to the grave, and then at this point we go for Pendulum Summon. Summon your Domino on the field, and then Domino will use its effect to copy the effect of Celta, add one more card. Now you have one counter already. Now you need 3 counters to link summon. What better way to do that than gain access to your Disharmonia? So we do that and gain access to the Disharmonia and put 2 more counters on the Domino. There you go. And then we link summon into our very own Zebufera. That is your setup there, guys. And also you have a face-up Silitrus on the field as well. So that's combo number 3. Let's go for combo number 4. And the last combo as well. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like I said, Decklist will be there. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.